Hello and thank you for joining us on Thursday's edition of Journalists Hangout. I am Esther Omopariola. Today on the program, APC National Executive Committee dissolves the National Working Committee. The NWC appoints Governor Buni as Chairman of Caretaker Committee, and later on the show, Obaseki sets to emerge as PDP Governorship Primaries get underway in Edo State. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, while Mojid Jamiu will join us via Skype. Journalists Hangout starts now. It was a hell of a battle between the power people within the ruling All Progressives Congress. The battle for the power and the control of the party pitched the different tendencies in the party against one another. Well, urged by many party members to step in and save the drifting ship of the APC, President Buhari, as leader of the party, eventually agreed to the convocation of a National Executive Council meeting of the party, which took far-reaching decisions today, top of which was the dissolution of the National Working Committee of the party. At Journalists Hangout, we saw this coming. Come with us.
How do we wade through all these murky waters now and arrive at what is best for the party?
I think this whole period has shown the APC to be a rudderless party, a party where people are fighting against one another, just like the kind of battles that you see at the Kruger National Park in South Africa between hyenas and lions. Everyone pulling in different directions. We've seen clearly that there is a big contest for power within the party, and these individuals are not ready to even forgive one another. They will prefer the party to die, during their time, than allow for peaceful resolution of these outstanding issues. And to show you that, yes, indeed, many individuals in the party lack discipline, are selfish, have no regard for laid down procedures. You find someone like Victor Giadom laying claim to the leadership or to the chairmanship of the party. No matter what judgments you've been given by a court of law, the constitution of your party should be supreme. There is no means. If Victor Giadom has ever read the constitution of his party, there is no way by which a deputy secretary of the party can rise to the position of the chairman in acting capacity. The constitution is clear. The North and the South have deputy chairman. Deputy chairman South, deputy chairman North. Where the chairman is incapacitated or is incapable of continuing to function, as we have seen in the case of Oshiomhole now, has been forced to abdicate. The deputy chairman South, that is the zone that it comes from, will be the one to step into that position. And that's how Senator Abiola Ajimobi was made the acting national chairman. The vice chairmen are next. Again, if those two, if the deputy chairman South cannot function in that position,
so it falls on.
You go to the vice chairman
from that
South, which is Oshiomhole's geopolitical zone. That's how Hilliard Etta inherited that position, mandated by his colleagues to lead in the absence of Senator Abiola Ajimobi, who is ill at this time. So, in the sequence that I explained, the deputy chairman of the deputy secretary of the party cannot just emerge out of the blues to lay claim to the chairmanship of the party. Forget about whatever judgment is brandishing. I said it from the beginning that they will not be able to resolve the matter, because I could see clearly that, yes, while Oshiomhole, we all know that Oshiomhole is stubborn, but Obaseki made up his mind that there will be no resolution. It was clear in his actions that he was not interested in a resolution of the matter. So the president did make moves in the beginning. Now, in this case, the governors went to him. The governors that went to him are governors who had all along been opposed to Oshiomhole. From the first day, they've been opposed to Oshiomhole. The governor of Jigawa State, the one with the funny beard, Governor Lalong, then Atiku Bagudu. These are not Oshiomhole supporters. They are among the 7 governors who support. So
that is an established bias.
Yes. I'm not surprised that the president said, I would like to listen to other people before I decide on the right course of action, because they have gone to him seeking to push the president to agree to a NEC meeting of the APC at this time. It is an expanded decision-making organ of the party, but the huge number may make the president slow down in deciding whether that's the best thing to do at this time. But it is clear that that is what those governors want. There are some of them too who want the NWC to be dissolved in favor of a caretaker committee.
Indeed, Babajide, you would rightly say, it's like you predicted this is going to happen. But, you know, from your analysis, even before you thought of this dissolution likely to happen, the South-South was expected to man the position, but it didn't turn out to be. So we have a Edo State governor taking over as a national chairman of the Caretaker Committee. So what do you say about this whole development happening in the APC?
Well, this is clearly what we saw coming. And we knew that no matter what, they will refuse to reconcile amongst themselves. They will not leave Oshiomhole alone. I said that clearly, and I wish that the producer can get to where I said, whatever happens, they will not leave Oshiomhole alone until they see his back. And that is what has happened. I knew that once the decision is reached to have a NEC meeting, the NWC will be dissolved, because the goal of the people who asked for this meeting was to get the NWC dissolved, and they've achieved their aim. By the constitution of the party, the NEC does not have the power to dissolve the NWC. But the president felt, well, the best thing to do, since the ship of the party was drifting, was to take this decision in the interest of the party. And he has also said everyone should withdraw the court cases that they brought against the party and against people within the party. One thing that has been achieved is the APC has saved itself from possible disqualification in Edo State and maybe Ondo State, because with everything in a state of flux, you could be wondering whether, if any of those contending parties presented Pastor Ezeyamo as a candidate of the party, whether some will not go to court. With the decision reached today now, the president has said that whoever decides to go to court will be dealt with severely. But the same president before the election said APC members who are not happy with the primaries of the party should be allowed to go to court. You know, so in my view, So many illegalities are going on in this party. And what is important is for the party to be reorganized and focused as a serious party that believes even in its own constitution, its own rules and regulations.
So, but you said the NWC, the NEC, that's the National Executive Committee, doesn't have the power to dissolve the NWC.
Yes, I checked through the constitution. I cannot find where they derive that power from. But these are extraordinary times. But I know that two wrongs don't make a right. And one wrong and one right still do not make a right. So,
in all of this, are you saying that the party is clearly heading for the rocks?
No, that's not it is clear that the president and some people in the party want to stop the party from a possible implosion. And by coming up with what, in my view, is not a legal solution, but a political solution.
Okay.
Because a political solution will push even some legal issues aside. That is what they are doing now. They are not looking at the legality of the action. They just want to take an action that they believe the majority of the people, especially those who are bent on bringing the roof down on everybody, are pleased with. And no doubt about it, a lot of those contending figures will be happy that they finally send the back of the NWC members. That had been their goal from the beginning. All of these court cases are just meant to render the NWC impotent, and it seems they've achieved their aim now.
Right, let's take you back to the genesis of the leadership of the crisis when Oshiomhole was suspended. Well, here is what we warned at that time.
The people who are after Oshiomhole will not relent. They are not going to leave him alone. If he thinks that they are going to leave him alone, then he's joking. They will not leave him alone, so he too has to be on the watch out for moves like this. Whatever he has to do, maybe by way of vacating that order through a superior court. He knows he has to do the injunction can be vacated by a superior court. So he knows he has to do that. But I know that even if he does that, they will take another step. You saw when people have made up their minds to fight till death, it happened in Zamfara. One court case, another court case, one court case, another court case, until the party conspired to self-destruct. When the party now conspired to yes, they deliberately pulled the house down. When it then happened, you then began to blame the judges, blaming the Supreme Court. Whereas it stated clearly that if you do not conduct primaries, you know, that this is what will happen. And contending groups, different contending groups, were sending clear signals to INEC that no primaries took place. So what did you expect INEC to do? So this is the situation. Remember, he survived a confidence vote the other day. He survived. About 12 state party chairmen saying that they no longer have confidence in him. So thankfully for him, some powerful people within the party rallied round to make sure that it did not degenerate beyond that point. But Oshiomhole will not be left alone. It is something that we've been talking about. And you can see it clearly that even moves to reconcile these elements have not achieved anything. It's clear that those moves are not working. Whether we change the name of change the leader of the reconciliation team from Lawan to Babajide, we are clearly not seeing any sign that any reconciliation is taking place.
Mojid, when you want to look at it, is it a matter of going and we are waiting for the last this thing, because somebody said this might be the beginning of the end of the era of Adams Oshiomhole, that if this court judgment is anything to go by?
The man who went to court, his name is one Oluwale Afolabi, and we should note here that that court sat in Abuja, not even in Edo. So which means that if this thing is happening in Abuja, the seat of power, where Oshiomole's office should be, then it means we should be reading some meanings in terms of the kind of attitude, the kind of approach the presidency or the seat of power, the ruling party is having into this. Apart from also coupled with the fact that it's not having it easy, even in Edo. And the person went to court to say that, yes, he has been suspended both at the ward, local government, and state level. So that's why he should cease to parade himself as the chairman of the
What does the constitution of their party say?
Well, Oshiomhole is saying that the court has upheld the prayers of the person who is saying that he is suspended. And the court is saying that, I mean, according to Justice Danlami Senji today, said you remain suspended until the determination of all the cases surrounding your suspension as chairman of, as a member of APC and as chairman of the party. So he has a lot of distractions on his hands, especially in the build-up to the, like Jide said, all this has to do with 2020 in Edo State, as well as 2023 federal.
Well, on the 9th of March, BKO also sounded a notice of warning to Oshiomhole on the crisis. Let's hear him.
I know that within the APC, the people who want to kick Oshiomhole into touch, they are not going to leave him alone. And they are probably even doing their best, reaching out to all the people who can help them to achieve their aims. Oshiomhole has to watch his tongue at this time. You abuse judges when the decision of the judges do not go according to your plan or your wish. You do not know that one day you will need those judges. And here is a judge who has put the matter of your suspension in abeyance, which means that whatever the president does, Oshiomhole remains suspended. You cannot go to the APC secretariat. He remains suspended. The chairman of the APC Governors Forum, the governor of Kebbi State, is glaringly not in favor of Oshiomhole continuing in office. But you see, you can say that, oh, a man who led this party to victory in the election, that you want to kick him out. No one is saying that Oshiomhole is infallible. But does he deserve to be treated the way he's being treated now? Because governors have power, they are coming together, they want to save one of their colleagues, and they want to bring down the roof of the party as a result of that. What we have is the appeal court is in abeyance. The NEC too is in abeyance. So technically, Oshiomhole lives to fight another day. There is time for him and the people who work with him to continue to try and solve this problem.
Jide, when we hear this, it's as though, you know, you are unraveling what is to come. More like, this is more likely what we're going to see. And Oshiomhole wouldn't have thought this was going to play out.
Yes.
His political career, you know, is kind of stunted in one way or the other. So what now becomes of him in the light of all that has happened so far?
Well, he's lost this battle. I'm sure he will learn from this. He clearly took things lightly. Oshiomhole got Inu Abdulkadri, vice chairman, immediate past vice chairman Northwest of the APC, suspended based on a so-called suspension by his ward in Sokoto State. Now, the same Oshiomhole should, and what did Abdulkadri do? Abdulkadri ran to court. Oshiomhole should have gone to court to stop his suspension by the ward officials of his party at his ward. I mean, as the national chairman of the party, it wouldn't have been difficult to get to a court that would put a halt to the implementation of that suspension by the ward ESCO. Even bigger organs of the party take bigger decisions, you can go to court and have an ex parte order that will ensure that it's not implemented. But he clearly underrated those people. He didn't take the action. So they decided to hurt him where it hurts, because they felt, now that this order was there, no one has been able to set it aside. That was what they activated through an Abuja court, that he should not continue to be in office when that decision had been taken. So if he had done something about that
earlier decision,
all of this would not have happened, because from the beginning he was a target. But he clearly underrated those who just felt, what are these small boys doing? Me, a national chairman at my ward, they want to suspend me. He underrated it. And the people who suspended him were clearly in the minority. These were grounds upon which you could have gone to court to say, no, this suspension should not stand. If he had done that, I tell you...
So it was a building up process.
All of this, because the people who were after him saw that loophole and they exploited it. You know, they exploited it. And the Abuja court said they have jurisdiction because the headquarters of the party is in Abuja. You understand? So if you had taken that action at that time, we would not have...
into this mess.
Yes. So I'm sure that he will be regretting now that he didn't take the action at that time, because this is what led to all of this.
So what happens next? What's next for him now?
Nobody knows exactly what he will do next. If the power people in the party have taken that decision, clearly, you see, his own supporters were in the majority in NEC and in NWC. But the thing is, once the president makes his move, in the kind of democracy that we run in our country, the president is very powerful. Once the president makes his move, people will queue up behind him. That's what we have seen. So whatever strategy you had, even before going to that meeting, once the president makes his position clear, and it was from the president's mouth that people had that this decision
has been taken.
Yes, he was the one who made the announcement. Who then will have the guts in that meeting to say, no, Mr. President, you are wrong. You don't have the power, Mr. President. You can't do this.
Everyone
Mr. President, Giadome had no power to call a meeting. Why did you agree to a meeting called by a man who did not have the power, based on the constitution of the party, to call the meeting? Once the president makes his move, people will queue up behind him. That's what happened. Even his best supporters will not be able to say anything.
Well, let's quickly share our discussion of the 11th of March with you.
I suggested to the national chairman of the APC to reach out to all aggrieved parties. And I'm happy that he has done that. Oshiomhole is a human being like the rest of us. He has his strengths and he has his weaknesses. no man created by God is perfect. So his strengths, we saw his strengths during the campaigns. When they went around the states, showed so much energy at campaign grounds, and rallied support for the candidates of the party. And he led the party to victory. My feeling, my view is that such a national chairman who led his party to victory shouldn't be disgraced out of office. Now, the president has done the right thing by stepping in. I did say many times that once the president made his position clear, other people will fall in. That's what has happened. The moment the president showed clearly, look, I'm not going to attend that NEC meeting. Not only did he let them know that I will not attend the NEC meeting, he went ahead to cancel the NEC meeting, which was a breather for Oshiomhole. And ultimately, he got the ruling that he wanted from the Superior Court, the Court of Appeal. Because despite the ruling of the Kano Court, Oshiomhole technically remained suspended and he did not move near the headquarters of the party so as not to risk contempt of court. But he has now shown clearly that he wants to reconcile with the people who had issues with him. Lawan Abdul Kadri, Inua Abdul Kadri, sorry, the lawyer from Sokoto State, was suspended on the flimsy charge that he was Governor Tambuwa's friend and that he worked against the party. There was no evidence of that. Mm-hmm. A man does not, Tambuwa used to be in the APC. A man does not suddenly become an enemy to a true friend just because the friend moved to another party. And some individuals in the Sokoto chapter of the party got together, reported him, and he was suspended. The same man who had his house demolished by the little governor of Kaduna State got suspended by his party again. So he had to go to court. But today, Abdul Kadri has had his suspension lifted, and he attended the meeting. Lawan Shuaibu, who abused Oshiomhole the other day too, over the Zamfara debacle, is also back. His suspension lifted. The NWC had this meeting, and the meeting was a success. Many of us never imagined that the meeting would be such a success.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It means that between them now, they really want to have peace, because that is the only way to keep the party strong.
Yeah, okay.
If you chase a man so much and God says it's not time for you to lay your hands on him, then you just have to accept your fate.
Okay.
Because the interest of the party is greater than anything.
Okay.
So they are back as one. I want to see the momentum, the reconciliation momentum sustained. And I want that even from his home state of Edo, if the governor who has been abusing him all over the place and his deputy who have shown no respect to Oshiomhole who made them, if they would retrace their steps, I think it will be in the interest of the party.
Quite an insight there revealed by our own BKO, where we just have breaking news just in. Former Governor of Oyo State, Abiola Ajimobi, is dead. This is just breaking, and we will bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. Well, may his soul rest in peace.
Wow. This is terrible.
Indeed.
It's terrible on a day like this. This is bad news. They had been on life support for some time. I knew it would be difficult for him to come around, and I consistently asked Nigerians to pray for him on Facebook because I didn't want us to lose him. But God remains sovereign, and is the one who has power over life and death.
Right.
Ajimobi is gone, but his fantastic work in Oyo State
We'll leave after him.
will live after him. He was clearly, in my view, the best governor that state ever had. It's painful to lose him at this time.
Indeed, really painful, not just for his friends, and also the people of Oyo State. I understand we have Majid Jamil with us online to bring his thoughts to bear on this rather sad news happening right now. Majid, what are your thoughts on what we just broke a few moments ago?
Yeah, it's quite a sad development. As we say, Islam, we all came from Almighty Allah and we all go back to Him. He has paid His dues. He has lived His own time. The rumor first broke out, I think last week, that he had died, but then I think they were battling to save his life. He's been hospitalized for COVID-19 related ailments for about a month now. And it's been in a very critical state, having been hit by the severe level of COVID, as doctors will say. But I think he gave up the ghost after a hard battle, with the illness, especially given the fact that we are quite aware that those who are above a certain age, when you are above 60, you are more susceptible to be hit hard by that by this ravaging COVID-19. It's quite unfortunate. We can only pray that God will give the family to the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss. Ajimobi did well as a governor in Oyo State, and it's unfortunate it has ended that way. He will be missed by the Southwest and the country at large. Very sad indeed, very sad day for the people of Oyo State and for the Southwest and Nigeria at large.
Right, yeah, really sad news indeed. But yes, let's quickly take a short break. Journalists Hangout, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Skype to discuss the unraveling developments going on in the APC, where the National Working Committee has been dissolved by the National Executive Council. And Babajide, when we were discussing this, you were telling us that the president, once he gives a directive, once he gives a pronouncement, everybody follows suit. Yes. It is more like everybody just listen to me. I have something to say. Because of the party, this party has to come as a united force. But do you think APC will remain as the formidable party it once stood, in 2015 when it had all the parties galvanized together as one indivisible unit? Do you think APC still has that strength?
You see, APC was like a special purpose vehicle, SPV, for some people to achieve their aims. They came with the intention of unseating the PDP, and different tendencies came together. Former members of the CPC, former members of the ANPP, even former members of APP.
Okay.
Because it's not every member of APP that joined ANPP. And members of ACN and other smaller groups. But since then, and then even PDP, we had what they call the NPDP. Since then, they've not been able to build a cohesive force. The party has remained divided. Some people will accuse the party of favoring a lot of the people who were originally in the CPC with the president. To achieve unanimity on issues has always been difficult because it's a disunited party. And the crisis within the party caused it to move from winning positions to losing positions in at least 4 states the last election. Adamawa, Benue, Oyo, you know, states like that. They should have, and Bauchi, they should have won those elections if not because of the division within the party. It caused members of the party to fight against themselves to work for the opposition. So the future of the party can only be secured if APC members tell themselves that, look, enough is enough. We are brothers and sisters. Let's come together. Let's put the party first. Because that's not what we are seeing. Within the governors, there's division. Even within the NWC, we had divisions. And of course, within the NEC too, there's division. You cannot continue like that. They've got to come together and behave like a party that is truly united, that is ready to, is ready to continue to make waves in our country.
Right.
All the signs that brought the PDP down, I'm seeing them in the APC as we speak. If they do not arrest the drift, the greed for power amongst their members, if they do not arrest it now, the party will ultimately go down.
All right. Now, Majid, what are your thoughts on this, whole issue? Do you think perhaps it will affect the party's chance, in the elections that is upcoming, in Edo and Ondo State? What are your thoughts? Do you think the APC will have a stronghold in states where elections are going to hold very, very soon?
Most likely, APC would lose Edo State because party is divided. Yamu is a grassroots person, but it's going to be very difficult. Obaseki has his own people. Some of them are still in APC. Some of them are in APC to make sure that they further deepen the crisis in APC while posing still to be members of APC, while pretending to be members of APC, or rather they will be working for PDP. And the PDP in Edo, you can say they are together, so to say. A major aspirant withdrew in the race for Obaseki today. So, well, you now wonder the same party, APC in Edo, that screened out Obaseki. Is the same certificate that APC screened out that Obaseki is using to contest to fly the flag of the PDP. It's most likely to emerge today as the flag bearer of PDP. So with the rancor and the crisis in the national level of the APC, I'm knowing that this crisis actually started from Edo State. It will take a miracle for APC to win that state, to win Edo State.
Right.
And I hope that the new caretaker committee, headed by the former secretary of the party and now UB governor, Buni, will be able to rally around and
right, that's a fine place to leave it, Majid. But let's quickly go ahead in the course of the program. After days of intrigues, the governorship primaries of the PDP in Edo State got underway today with the governor, Godwin Obaseki, as the only man standing. Now, all is set for the replay of the battle between him and Pastor Ize Iyamu, who is now of the APC. Jide, a titanic battle awaits us already in September. So, because this is going to be a replay of what we saw 4 years ago, Ize Iyamu and Obaseki.
Yes, it's like Manchester United playing against Liverpool. That's the biggest derby, the biggest rivalry in English football. Been there with them for years. They know each other very well. Obaseki defeated Ize Iyamu in 2016. At that time, we had Oshiomhole on his side and Oshiomhole supporters. This time around, Ize Iyamu is on the APC side. Oshiomhole went for him because he felt that, look, when it comes to grassroots politics, this is the person who can help us to win the election. He knew that he did not want, he would not want to see Obaseki emerge as the candidate of the party. He knew he would not want to give him the ticket, so he had to look for an alternative, and he got himself a strong candidate, a strong politician.
Contender.
You know, he's lived all his life. The only time he left Benin was when he came to the law school here. He's worked all his life. He's worked in Benin, in Edo State, so he knows his way around politically. Now, one crucial thing, because these governors, there was something that Obaseki said that I held on to. He said the APC governors are still with me. Now, that's a very important statement. Pregnant with meaning. Governors usually go to assist their colleagues win elections in Nigeria. I don't know whether, that is even after I joined the PDP, I don't know whether the events of today will cause APC governors to not work for Obaseki. This whole crisis was precipitated by their desire to assist one of their own, stop him from being humiliated. Now, if they go ahead to support a candidate of a rival party, if they provide support for Obaseki, then it's going to be very tough for the APC.
And do you think that is going to happen?
Honestly, sometimes it's difficult to predict the actions of this person, but I've seen APC members work against their own party. So I cannot even say that they can't do it. A lot of them are very close to Obaseki. So if they choose to provide him with funds and they help him, then it could affect the outcome of the election.
Right.
So we will see in the course of, in the fullness of time, whether Ize-Iyamu will be able to defeat the incumbent governor.
So,
but it will be tough.
Right, in the tough indeed. Majid, what are your thoughts? Do you think perhaps it will really be a case where the PDP will have the support of APC for the governorship elections in Edo State for Obaseki? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, like Jide said, I think I want to align myself with his thoughts here. It will be pretty difficult for Ize-Iyamu. I mean, it's not only your grassroots support or your grassroots experience that wins elections in Nigeria. You also need what we call federal might and some other stuff like that. And if the governors show solidarity for one of their own, who used to be part of them, I mean, now we have a situation where both governors in the PDP and governors in the APC might end up working for Obaseki. Because I look at the statement issued by Wike saying that the governors forum didn't come in defense of one of their own and allow this kind of thing to happen. And now, like I said earlier, the crisis in the APC actually started from Edo State between the governor and the chairman of the party. So, and it has snowballed to this level. And also, don't forget that at the weekend, the palace of the Oba of Benin, they seldom interfere in politics, but issued a statement, I mean, condemning godfatherism, and we all know who the palace is referring to here. So all these ones will play out. The palace is the palace of the Oba of Benin is a well-respected traditional institution in those states, and when they make a pronouncement, I mean, people tend to study the body language. And I mean, the body language from the palace is that no to godfatherism. You yourself, I mean, the former governor fought it, and now why is he trying to encourage it? So, I mean, all this will play out. And also, what the people on the streets, the masses, what do they want? Do they want Obaseki to continue, or do they want a total shift to Ize-Iyamu? It's a very tight situation, because even before now, it used to be a 50-50 chance. Recall that 4 years ago, Obaseki won with just 50,000 votes. Now, it could swing to either way. So it's going to be a very tough contest. But then it's 24 hours is a long time in politics. And in the case of Edo, you have a situation where PDP, Obaseki was in APC 4 years ago, now is in PDP today. And Yamu was in PDP 4 years ago, today is in APC. But is he really APC as in APC, and is Obaseki PDP as in PDP? So all this will play out as time and unfold. So it's going to be very funny and tough in Edo State.
You know, Majid, when you talk about this, you know, the PDP, he was in PDP and now he's in APC, and the same thing goes for Obaseki, likewise for Izeyamu. One is beginning to ask, perhaps the party doesn't really matter here, because if you're talking about two individuals who fought for the same political position and the people have to choose again, so are we talking about who has the party or who has the people's support?
Yes, and like I said, three critical factors. Where the governors, I mean, you see a situation where some APC governors might be working for PDP, for Obaseki now, not for PDP, but for Obaseki. So the individual now will have a critical role to play here, as in the personality of Obaseki. How many of it, because he came out boldly, even after he defected to PDP, to say that, yes, I have the support of my colleague governors. So, and if you have governors from the APC and governors from the PDP supporting him in terms of materials and cash, I mean, then you need money to pursue these elections. And you need money to do a lot of stuff. And even if it has to do with just paying your agents on election day, mobilization and stuff like that. So, and if Izeyamu, I hope, well, I'm happy that at the NEC meeting in Abuja today, where the president presided, it endorsed the decision of the NWC to ratify Izeyamu. But then, will the party deploy its machinery at the federal level to back Izeyamu? That's another question. I mean, so if the governors, and the governors might be lukewarm at times, I mean, you might see them coming on the podium to campaign for Izeyamu as a member of the party. Even we have seen it happen in the past. But deep within them, they might withdraw their support in terms of moral and financial.
Right, point taken there, Majid. Let's quickly get your thoughts of VKO on this matter. He raised a valid point there. Will the party at the federal level deploy the machinery for Izeyamu in the upcoming elections in September?
I expect them to do that. And we had the governor of Kogi saying 2 days ago that, look, you, Obaseki, the fact that you are an incumbent does not mean that you will be re-elected. If they put their house in order and they put the party first, then they are going to ditch Obaseki and tell themselves that, look, it pays us more to have someone from our party as governor of Edo State. But if they are still thinking that, well, if Izeyamu prevails in that election, then it is still Oshiomhole that they have been fighting that prevailed. If they have that mindset to say, no, whatever it is, let's completely deal with Oshiomhole, then majority of them will work against the candidate of Oshiomhole, which is Izeyamu. You know, sometimes these people brush party loyalty aside to do funny things. That was why I said from the beginning that the support of the APC governors will be crucial. And if Obaseki can come out to say APC governors are still behind me, ordinarily a well-trained politician would not even say that. You keep it close to your chest. But having said that, it kind of got me thinking that it is possible that these people, if they want to cuckoo finish their battle with Oshiomhole and ensure that Oshiomhole does not get anything, then they would go and work honestly for Obaseki. But the decision is in the hands of the people. It's the people who will decide who becomes their governor between these two individuals. So the judgment largely is still in the hands of the average person in Edo State, and we still have a long time. September is still far. In politics, months. If you have so much time, then many things can happen.
Absolutely. So let's quickly get your final thoughts, Majid, on this matter before we wrap up the show.
Yeah, like Jide was saying, under Oshiomhole, the APC lost Adamawa, Benue, Bauchi, Oyo, Zamfara, and Bayelsa. These are states that should be in the kitty of the APC. And if the same thing happens in Edo, the blame will still go to Oshiomhole, that under him, because of his high-handedness, the APC lost 7 or 8 states under his leadership.
Well, that's about it on this week's edition of Journalists Hangout. Join us again tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalists Hangout on our other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalists Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'd like to thank my guests, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, and on Skype, Majid Jamiu. As usual, I am Esther Omopariola. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.